Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2020 Spring Teen Class Reading. I'm going to unmute everyone so they can wave to everyone at home, including our host today, Robbie Ciara.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to our first COVID spring reading, Zoom reading. I think it's going to be fantastic. We got a lot of very talented teen readers, as always, at the Muse, willing to share their best work. So I'm really looking forward to this. So we are going to begin with, have we decided who we're going to begin with? Is it Daniel? Is it Leon? Who's going to start us off today?
I can go.
All right, outstanding. So coming up, we have Daniel.
Hello. My name is Daniel Frias. My piece is titled "Tea is Love." It is about my grandmother. Okay. My grandmother is a special blend. We call her Grandad, Gran on account of her being my grandmother, and Dot because her first name is Dorothy. She grew up in the United Kingdom, and her mother married an American pilot after World War II, so she speaks in a British accent that's been distinctly warped after years of living in the southern United States. She only has one eye, the other one taken by cancer, and so she lacks the depth perception that we typically take for granted. I love her dearly. Tea is love, Grandad would say, as she hobbled from one end of the kitchen to the other, mug cupped like a glass egg in two hands, tea sloshing perilously close to the rim. At least, in my family it was, although it was only ever you and your mother who drank. Tea time was our time. Our troubles boiled like hot water on those granite countertops, burned away by cold, smooth stone and left to steep in silence. The light of morning glittered like sugar, sprinkled generously so as to make bitter thoughts palatable, a bitter drink drinkable. The first sip was always the most important, the most meaningful. It was the doorway to a quiet realm, a realm where everything was right in the world, and a simple drink could fix anything. 2 spoonfuls of sugar, and my anxieties, worries, and doubts dissolved into nothing. Grandad never added sugar to her tea. She was old. She had her health to look after. She didn't mind the bitter taste, or the fact that it was uncaffeinated. She had lived through worse. We wanted to forget life, to forget hardship, to forget old age and loving grandmothers who we may one day lose. This was our ritual. This was our brew. And in each other's company, we drank deep. Thank you.
Excellent piece. Next, who do we have next? Who do we have coming up next?
I think I'm supposed to.
All right, Leon. We have Leon coming up to the Zoom microphone next with an enchanting story.
I'm Leon Battle, and I'm going to be reading an excerpt from my novel called Crime Academy. The halls of the academy did nothing but tighten the knots that had formed within Trevor's stomach. He suffered from the traditional anxiety that accompanied moving schools, but his gut harbored a much more unconventional feeling as well. This was likely due to the unconventional nature of his new school, a school meant to cultivate the next generation of criminal greatness. The children of the world's most dastardly, twisted, and infamous malefactors walked these halls. Now, Trevor was more or less just like them. The halls were much more well kept than one might imagine, at least on the 9th grade hall. A theme of pink and purple was a welcoming theme of pink and purple occupied the halls and the posters on it. Trevor approached the class's door, alone in the hall, and placed his hand on the handle of the door and inhaled. After he turned the handle, he was met with his first hurdle. His mind clouded with panic thoughts of neurotic indecision. If the door creaks for too long, it'll be weird and everyone will look at me. But if I do it too fast, it'll be loud and everyone will look at me anyway. Unbeknownst to poor Trevor, the door was the kind that swung fully open with a single turn of its handle. His reasonably puzzled classmates watched on with confounded expressions as Trevor stood paralyzed in frantic contemplation, weighing the options of a decision that the door had made for him. Apparently, his interest was accompanied by a long, painful shriek, something he feared would set the tone for his high school years to come. "You must be Trevor." A tall, middle-aged man in a deep red suit and a red fedora broke his confusion and rushed over to greet him. "I'm Dr. Lucas. Come to the front of the class and tell us why you're here." Trevor replayed the events to himself in his head. He couldn't hope to explain them yet. Even he had yet to fully digest them. Trevor's father, Blaine Perry, was charged with attempted murder only 3 days ago. Blaine worked as a bodyguard for the Tiberland Prime Minister. During one of the most highly attended speeches in Tiberland history, Trevor's father chose to pull a knife on the Prime Minister, flagrantly and dramatically thrusting it towards him, as if he were hoping to be caught. He was immediately stopped and detained, leaving Trevor to face life as the progeny of a convict alone.
Forward to hearing the rest of that Crime Academy novel. Definitely looking forward to reading that. And who do we have next?
I'll go.
Evelyn.
My name is Evelyn O'Connell, and I'm going to be reading a poem titled "The Girl with Fire on Her Breath." I stare, not knowing what to think. I feel it welling up inside me, threatening to boil over. I try to stay calm, breathing in and out, but for every breath I take, something inside me wilts and dies. As I grow empty inside, the human in me starts to leave. And now with every breath, flames slowly escape through my mouth. I turn my head to the heavens, my raven black hair turned fiery red. The rain starts to pour, but I stay still, my head turned upwards. And with a mighty scream from inside my deepest core, a jet of flames erupts from my soul, coming out through my mouth in a guttural cry. It encases me in a whirlwind of fire. The fire whips around me, scorching anything that dares come near. The fire leaves my body parched and drained, but still sensitive enough to feel pain. My fiery hair turns back to black. The fire on my breath dies out. Everything escapes me, leaving my body quiet. I look down at the ground and I slowly trudge home. My soul, it's nothing. It's empty and cold. But the fire still burns within me, waiting to be released.
Nicely done, Evelyn. Nicely done. I love the title of that poem. It really comes full circle when you read the poem. Nice. Who do we have next?
I can go.
All right, Hayden.
Okay. So I read this last time. This was a story idea that I did last time, but I expanded on it. But I can't start from where I started expanding without some confusion. So I'm just gonna start from the beginning. So please bear with me. I'm sorry if you already had to hear this. So I'll just read almost everything that I wrote because it's probably too long. But okay. I'm Hayden, and I don't have a title for the story yet, but I'm working on it. It was a well-known fact in the town of Kensworth that the Abernathys and the Fitzpatricks did not get along. No one was sure when the rivalry had started exactly, only that it led back through generations of the combative families and seemed to come out of nowhere. It was very simple, actually. The Abernethys shopped downtown on Saturday, and the Fitzpatricks went on Sunday. The Abernethys went to the church on the east side of the town, so the Fitzpatricks went to the church on the west side of town. That way, they didn't have to pass each other's houses on the way. The Abernethys ate at Bernadette's when they wanted to eat out, so the Fitzpatricks ate at Jersey Mike's. The Abernethys shopped at Publix, therefore the Fitzpatricks pushed their cart along the aisles of Walmart. The Abernethys were traditionally doctors, so the Fitzpatricks stocked up on medicine and did their best to stay healthy. The Fitzpatricks were traditionally lawyers, so the Abernethys did their best to stay out of trouble. They had alternating laundry days, walk the dog days, and parents' night outs. It was all very synchronized, very practiced, and easy. The neighbors had to know the schedule, obviously. Otherwise, who would babysit on the parents' night out? Who would make sure that the Fitzpatricks weren't shopping at Publix? Who would make sure the Abernethys stayed in the East Side Church? So, of course, the neighbors' knowledge turned into the town's knowledge, and fairly quickly, the family feud turned into the town feud. Some decided to go with the Abernethys simply because their last name starts with an A. Some went with the Fitzpatricks because they were more laid back. No one knew how it had started, no one knew how it had escalated, and very few people remembered what it was like before the town was cleaved cleanly in half. The Abernethys and the Fitzpatricks and the people who were on either side. And so it was, and so it remained, until a new family moved into town. A family with a little girl who asked a very simple, quiet question, and that changed absolutely everything. So that was kind of like the prologue. So, chapter 1. Several letters on the welcome sign have worn off. Instead of saying welcome to Kentsworth, it says WCOM to Ketsworth. Cecilia Locke reads the sign quickly as her mother's car rolls by. She has to resist the urge to scream when she sees the missing letters. Can't a person print new letters to replace the missing? Is the world so far gone that people just allow their town's welcome sign to wear away? Cecilia decides that the sign says a lot of things about Kentsworth. Clearly the people are lazy and don't care about signage. This is a huge offense in Cecilia's book. She leans forward so her head is between the driver's seat and the passenger seat and tells her parents this. Well, it's only a sign, Cecilia. Surely you can't tell much about a town's personality from a little old sign, Mr. Locke says jovially. Cecilia thinks her lucky star she isn't as ignorant as her father and sits back in her seat. That's all I have so far.
I can't wait to speak with Jessica about this reading. Hopefully she'll check in. She told me she'd be watching later, so I'm sure she's very, very happy with what she's helped with this semester. So, all right, nice job, Hayden. Well done. All right, who do we have next?
I can go.
All right, Isabella.
Okay. Hi, my name is Isabella, and I'm going to read a scene from a screenplay I've been working on called Hannon Beach. Exterior, Hannon Beach, sunrise. Elaine stands on the beach wrapped in Nick's jacket. Her eyes well with tears. She releases a shuddering breath and wipes her eyes. Cindy approaches from behind. Miss Salinger. Don't. Elaine lets a few more tears slip. Elaine, stop. A silence ensues between the two. I don't know what to say to you, Miss Salinger. I do believe we're on a first-name basis, wouldn't you agree? Yes, I suppose so. The sunrise, it's beautiful, isn't it? My favorite part of the day. I know you did it. I'm not going to ask why, because I know the circumstances. You do? Better than you do. We were married, Elaine. I know very well why you did what you did. I can't commend you for your actions because you have done quite a disservice to my children, but I can say I understand. I don't know what came over me. I do. A mother's instinct. Elaine turns to Cindy with a shocked expression. You're expecting, are you not? What gave it away? I hadn't seen you at the Villanueva in a while, so I naturally assumed Nick had forced you into hiding. Did he do this to you too? He didn't have to. We were married when I got pregnant. That's of little consequence. What matters now is that you know the plan. The plan? Yes. Though you've been a thorn in my side for months, I seek to help you. Why? Because we have mirrored experiences. I know how difficult it must have been for you to endure Nick's cruelty, being as young as you are. I can't in good conscience let you leave without doing anything, but I can tell you what's to come. At 6 p.m., I'll be making a statement to the police telling them whom I believe to be the suspect. I will give them your name and the circumstances of the situation. I can't go to jail, Miss Salinger, please. Well, whether you go to jail or not is entirely up to you. I wouldn't wish that upon your child. A dead father, and an imprisoned mother is no life. For the sake of your family, I suggest you leave this town and never come back. Tell no one you're leaving, and when you get to wherever it is that you go, tell no one your real name. As far as anyone is concerned, you are not, nor were you ever a vanguard. Where will I go? That's not my decision to make. You wish to be independent, now's your chance. I'm not ready. You should have thought of that before you went around pushing people off of balconies. Elaine wipes her tears. This wasn't supposed to be my life. This shouldn't be something I need to consider. Nevertheless, it is, so it's time to be a woman and take your life into your own hands. Elaine laughs sadly. He always told me how much he wanted me to be an independent woman. Yes, he has a habit of wishing for things he doesn't really want. Another silence falls over the pair. Elaine stands contemplating her options. Cindy sighs and turns to walk away. Where are you going? My children will rise soon. I need to be back beforehand. There's much to tell them. Goodbye, Elaine. Cindy exits. And that's it.
All right. We are in a nice little groove. Nice job. Nice job. Very nice job. Who do we have next? I'm looking at Sydney. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Sydney, and this is my poem, The Flight in the Fall. How did it feel to look up and see the sun shrinking as you fall? How did it feel hearing the ocean's hungry roar growing closer and closer as your wings melted on your back? How did it feel to find yourself still grinning with a mouth full of blood, eyes still sparkling with both pride and tears, even while sinking? Fallen, falling. Icarus, though you fell, though they mock you, who else can say that they have touched the sky? And that is it.
That's one of my favorite Sid poems. Love that. Love that Icarus poem. Great, 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 great. Do we have Michael? You're up next. All right, we have Michael.
Hello, my name is Michael. I'm going to be reading an excerpt from my novel called The Dead and the Deathless. It takes place a little bit into it. The Tri-Suns have almost disappeared. Only Solus was left. However, it didn't seem like it wanted night to come anytime soon. Claire walked in the desert with the silence around her. She walked in tandem with it, letting it carry her. All of everything seemed to be hidden within the sand. She was desperate for words at this point. She craved them more than she craved for food or water, but she could not magically make words appear besides her own. Do your feet still hurt even though you're in the suit? Claire questioned. The suit nodded its head. That seems a little bit cruel. Don't you suppose they could just let you not feel anything? The suit seemed to not care either way. Later that day, the suit motions for camp to be made. Okay, Claire responds absentmindedly. The suit made the circle and Claire filled it with the white sand. Once again, the suit started drawing in the sand and kept its drawings hidden from Claire. Claire ate some more of her rations and then pulled out a journal and pencil from her satchel. Something she had brought herself, certainly not something the director had given her. Inside the margins of her notebook, she scribbled notes about her fake civilization living within her fake stars, harvesting their resources from the Tri-Suns and bringing her eventually the night she craved. What would their made-up name be? She wondered inwardly. She glances over at the suit. Maybe he'd have an idea. She considers this, but decides it's better to keep her idea to herself. The next day, they're walking again. They've been climbing a sand dune for the better part of the day. Over the top of it, Claire imagines what they're likely to find. A spaceship half buried in the sand, Its engine is still roaring, the fuel supply is rapidly lowering. Inside is a dead alien, a mark of solace. This alien, Claire stops herself. Obviously, none of this would happen. All they would find over that sand dune was more sand. The sand was like suffering incarnate. It seemed to shimmer in human-like ways. It faked being there for her. No one was here for her. She wanted to destroy every grain of sand which existed in this layer. Later that day, the suit motioned for camp to be made again. Okay, Claire responded absentmindedly. Once again, the suit made a circle, and Claire filled it with white sand. She ate some more food from her rations, greedily slurping down some unknown mush of liquid. She noted not only the flavor, but also the way the liquidy bits cooled her throat. Bringing out her journal, she scribbled some more notes about the species living in the stars. The next day, Solus hanged even lower. Night may soon be coming. Why don't you want to show me your drawings, Kane? The suit doesn't respond. The next day, the suit motioned for camp to be made again. Okay, Claire responded absentmindedly. Once again, the suit made a circle and Claire filled it with white sand. She eats a little more of the rations. She notes the bag still feels relatively full. In truth, she's terrified at the thought of using her powers. Even one more layer down, she can still feel the bleeding. If she so much as looks at that cut, who knows what kind of thing she can unleash. Claire brings out her journal again. Even this made-up civilization, rooted in its impossibility so it can't come to life, was tugging on her to make it real. Even this tiny bit of her imagination that tried to keep her sane threatened to kill her. The suit looked over at Claire's notebook. She looked up at the suit, looked at it good. It was a little bit taller than what she imagined any human height could be. The deep crevices in it were filled with neon lights. The face was what caught her, the mark of a dragon made to resemble a human. She couldn't quite imagine the person existing as an apparatus controlling it. The suit made a motion for Claire to hand him her journal. She hesitated but forked it over, figuring this was her best chance at getting to know what the suit was drawing about. The suit leafed through it and began writing. Who are you writing this for? For myself, I suppose. The suit seemed satisfied with this answer and handed the journal back. Claire was going to ask him if she could see what he was drawing, but the suit turned around and blocked her from seeing again. And that's it. That's the end of the excerpt.
Well done, Michael. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. It's a great reading. And who do we have next to bless the Zoom microphone?
I'll go next.
All right, Kiera.
So my name's Kiera. I have a poem called Student, and it's inspired by one by Gwendolyn Brooks called The Sundays of Satin Leg Smith. Angular light cuts through glassy window pane. The pages are new. They catch the sun. Up from slumber rises the young scholar. Brilliance emanates from his bright mind, so expansive as to swallow up the entire room. It rotates on an axle. He makes his descension to the kitchen and consumes Cheerios, the breakfast of a true rationale. They're very nutritional. Curved utensil glinted silver dips into that pool of excellence so gloriously cool as to incite chills. Plump berries, borderline pompous, float on that white elixir, drifting beneath a healthy serving, modest, I assure you, of powdered sugar. His gait is purposeful and true as he traverses the gap between table and sink. Oh, how noble the initiative when that slippery grasp of time is sacrificed in the name of selfless generosity. The household is grateful. It really is, for it hears the telltale echo of the shiny ladle falling with a clatter into the recesses of the grand basin, suited only for the most righteous of kings. Yet alas, our lad is but a high school teen. He navigates the blossoming woes of his tender age amidst a throng of other stigmas, all leaning, tilting, straining to share the same supply of wealth. Some receive more than others in the garden. Unfortunates ensconced under the presence of the greater are condemned to wither, socially irrelevant and academically impotent. A classic tragedy if you ever saw one, except these kinds of tragedies carry on behind the final scene that shocks. These fellows prolong their sad existence beyond the curtain that falls, while a mildly sympathetic audience flocks to their cars. A quaint production, quite simple to reproduce actually, it's just a matter of where you plant the seeds. But that is no triviality to concern our little protagonist. He's got things to do, places to be, the real cream of the crop, the fine apple of our eye, our pimply-faced hero. Though not yet a king, he is, most assuredly, our wonderful, shining prince. So out the door he goes, set forth on yet another grand venture to conquer yet another grand day. He basks in the light, like a paunchy lizard perched proud and still on his stately log. The rays are tantalizing, inviting, warm, sickeningly warm. The heat pulls him in softly, a gentle embrace so natural, so inherent, he accepts without question, buying into that golden prestige, receiving its condemning kiss. A small scorch, now forever fading, forever taking. He is, always has been, always will be, our wonderful, shining prince, and he catches the sun.
Like that. So many lines I like in that. Well done, Kiera. Punchy lizard, I like that. Who is next out of this talent pool? Caroline? All right.
Yeah. This poem is called Happy Perfect. So here it goes. The air was wet and inviting. The sky was a warm blue, and the ocean beneath it moved like a painting would. Pining for the blurry lines separating the crawling blue with the soft gradient sky streaked with puffy white, I noted that the horizon looked absolutely perfect, like it should be captured in time. If only there was a time capsule for these perfect moments, I would collect them all and sit on top of them like a dragon hiding its treasure, or a customer on top of a cracked diner stool, eating something exquisitely greasy. But there are no capsules for perfection, so I paint instead. With each stroke, the sailboat seemed to crack more, groaning in low, gravelly moans against strident pitches as the animal water beat and beat and beat against its sides, the same water that pounded against the bottom of the cruise ship I saw, sitting perfectly on top of the blurred horizon, full of happy people. Some of them were probably models, I thought. Their bodies must be perfect. They must be happy. At the same time, a model walked home in the cold, claggy air to a one-bedroom apartment, passing a food chain for the last time. She ordered everything on the menu and didn't go back to work the next day, sinking in the same horizon waters that drowned Ambrose Olsen, Dal Kim. Some of them may be professors. I thought of my English teacher, of the way his cheeks turned red when he smiled, always joyful and perfectly smart. He must be happy. At the same time, he sped to the hospital, praying that he had arrived in time to witness his mother's last minutes. Yet the ship's full of shiny, happy, perfect people. And with each stroke, the ship stuck to the horizon, given freely to them, yet always out of my reach. I didn't know it, but the steaming shape perched atop the divide between sea and sky was a cargo ship with a leak in the side. It would sink the next day. It was only until after that painting lost the 9th grade art show did I realize that the ship wasn't perfect. Though it sat on top of that impossible horizon, it chugged on to its place at the bottom of the bay. There were no perfect models, no contented professors, no people on that cargo ship, but many will sink into those murky waters in pursuit of the perfect cruise ship on the skyline. I burned the painting I had called Perfection, and with it, the smiling plastic people who wrote it. And Professor, your life isn't perfect, nor is mine, nor is hers with the beautiful hair and pinched waist, nor is his whose pitch was successful at work yesterday, nor is the billionaire's. And though I'll never board that ship, touch that golden horizon, I'm still shiny, happy, as the ashes rise up into the same high blue sky.
Well read, Caroline. Well read. Happy Christmas. Love it. Who do we have next? We still have, who do we have left? I think we got Adia. Who else do we have left? Have we all gone? I don't think we've all gone. I'm looking at some screens. You can't hide on Zoom. Come on. Who's blessing the mic next?
I can go.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Adia. I'll be reading an excerpt from a story of mine called No Good Witches, which is basically to give like an idea what the whole story is about. Like in the world, magic is illegal unless you have a license. And then there's this teenage girl who uses magic anyways because she's edgy. And she ends up getting detention for that, and she's in detention with some people she doesn't like, and they're like, well, you use magic, why don't you like make a spell to get us out of detention? And then with their help, she kind of does the spell, and it goes a bit wrong because she ends up killing the teacher. And so the story is basically them having to go into like the black market to find a necromancy spell so that they don't go to jail. But that's what the story is, and I'll be reading an excerpt from that. I'm sick. It was the usual Monday declaration. My mother took one look at me and snorted, turning her attention back to the dishes in the sink. No, you aren't. I'm serious this time, I said, climbing onto a stool at the bar. I think I have a fever. Her eyes were back to mine, a second before they narrowed. She reluctantly made her way over to me and put her hand on my face, feeling my forehead, and then my cheek, and then my forehead again. She pulled her hand away. You're fine. I'm sick. You're going to school, she said finally. And you didn't do the dishes. Again. I winced and squeezed my eyes shut. Sorry, I forgot. She hummed. Have you seen your brother's water bottle? I got up from my seat in search of a bowl. Did you put it in the sink? Nope. I shrugged, bowl in hand, headed back toward the bar. She sighed. Jessie, where'd you put your water bottle? My younger brother came down the stairs, looking more disheveled than he did when he woke up, straightening his uniform tie as he went. I've got it right here. Is it clean? She asked. He didn't answer. She sighed again. Jessie, Mommy, guess what I learned at school today? It was Marnie, my youngest sibling, who raced into the kitchen with this question. I wasn't sure where she found that much energy this early in the morning, but I'd narrowed it down to either dark magic or heavy drugs. What'd you learn in school, Marnie? My teacher told us that after humans and witches became friends, they made magic against the law. She made her way over to me, already having taken my place again, and climbed onto her own stool and sat beside mine. And then I told them that my mom was a criminal then because you use magic all the time. What did I tell you about going around and telling everybody our business? Not to do it. My sister giggled. I keep forgetting. You have forgetful daughters, I observed. Mother shot me a look. Fix your sister some cereal, please. She set the bowl in front of Marnie, turning to pull milk from the fridge. I laughed and grabbed the cereal box just as Jessie snatched it from my hands. Hey! He was unruffled. You're slow. You're slow. I snatched the box back from him and poured Marnie and myself cereal, slamming the box down on the bar after I finished, sticking my tongue out at him. He rolled his eyes. That was his new favorite thing. And magic is only illegal for those who don't have a license. Did your teacher tell you that? Mother asked. Do you have a license, Mommy? Marnie asked back, digging her spoon into her cereal. I held in a laugh. Eat your breakfast, Marnie. Regardless, your teacher's still wrong, I said. The witch laws were a blatant attempt to try to make the witch lifestyle more digestible to the human palate. And it weaponized their gift, made something evil out of the most beautiful thing we have to offer. Where'd you read that? Jessie teased. Another one of those BuzzFeed for communist articles? How's that workers' revolution going? Shut up, Jessie, I growled. Mommy, Cass said a bad word, Marnie exclaimed. Don't tell your brother to shut up, Cass, Mom said absent-mindedly. What's the point of going to witch school if we aren't going to learn to use magic anyways, I asked. She was already busying herself about the next task, fixing Marnie and Jessie's lunches. Learning about your heritage and culture, forming connections with other people like you. Then why doesn't Marnie go to witch school? Jessie asked, fussing with his hair as he gazed at his reflection in the mirror, brush in hand. Your sister has different needs than you do. She's the genius, I translated, and we're the dumb ones. Speak for yourself. He slung his backpack over his shoulder and shoved a fistful of cereal into his mouth. Before swallowing, he gestured to a brown bag on the counter. That mine? Mom glanced at him. Yes, but he grabbed it. I'm going now, but I was going to drive you today. He shook his head, still munching on his Fruit Loops. I'll take my bike. Mom sighed. Okay, just don't forget your lacrosse stuff this time. I don't want to have to leave work again just to. I won't, he called as he went out the door. Mom's gaze was on me. Go with him. I dropped my spoon. What? Why? Cass, please, just once, can't you do what I asked you to do without arguing? I need your help around here. She set both hands down on the counter. This was now officially serious business. Mom, I really do think I have a headache. She waved her hand through the air, and the subtle throb I'd spent weeks trying to formulate the spell for disappeared completely. There, is that better? But Mom, you aren't supposed to. A glance from our mother was enough to quiet Marty's protests on our mother's unlicensed magic use. All right, fine. I'll bike to school with Jessie, the teenager from hell. I ate as much cereal as I could before wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. I grabbed my backpack and raced out of the house. I love you, I heard Mom cry out. I leaned back into the house. Love you too, I yelled back. I closed and locked the door behind me just in time to witness that Jessie was already halfway up the road. Hey, booger breath, I yelled after him. Wait up. And that's thank you.
Please finish that story. I'm so intrigued to see how that all works out. I love that story. I really need to hear the end of that. So who do we have next? Who do we have next? I think are we down to our last reader? I think we're down to our last reader. Jenna Sid went, Diane went, Leon went, Caroline went, Kiera went. Do we have one reader left?
I think we're done, actually.
Done.
Yeah, so
Oh, I'm sad now.
I'm sure everyone at home is also sad.
Butter
I'm
sad.
just gonna put the view, hi. I'm gonna put the view on all of us so we can wave goodbye to everyone at home. So wave, please. I'm gonna unmute you all. You can say goodbye. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. I can't wait to see everybody this summer. Seriously, I am in serious Muse withdrawal. My heart is empty without all of you. I cannot wait until we see each other. So much talent. Oh my God, Anna, you've been hiding everybody from me.
Yeah, very, very talented group. And thank you all for participating today. And we can't wait to see you again. And that's the end of the live stream.
All right. Keep writing with fire. Keep writing with fire.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.